Hello, everybody. It's working again. I'm going to swoop this down just a teeniest bit. Makes it easier to see what's going on. I was just about to hit live. I was going to come in about 30 seconds early. And then I realized that my table was dead. So I had to reset that camera. Woo! Hello, everybody. Please put any questions you have from the feed in comment and from the feed in the chat in capitals so I can find them. And we have Sharon Sipe, Troll Slayer Extraordinaire, watching over you. So don't type any porn in, please. Today we got some questions, and we also got some compliments. So I'm going to start with the compliments because I don't think we accept those as graciously as we should. Once again, I want to thank everybody who's a subscriber, everybody who supports the channel in any other way. I'm going to be talking a little bit today about Christmas gifts that maybe I can help make your Christmas list a little bit shorter. And I'm going to have a giveaway at the end of the show. And it's going to be a crystal and a key. And the only way you can get it is if you are a subscriber. And I will post my email that you need to send it to, or maybe Sharon will in the chat. And this is the first comment that I got today. Thank you for the reading. I did a reading on this lady yesterday, quickly, on Monthly Musings, which is something I do. It goes up right around the first of the month. I read with Allie and Cardamancy and Valerie and Karen and I'm blanking. I should never have started saying names. Anyway, there were 6 of us there, and each of us brought in our own skills, and we each spent 5 minutes on how we see December rolling out. It's very interesting. If you haven't seen it, go back and look. It's on my channel because I was one running it. And then this one, this person had no question. They just love watching. Thank you, because watching helps too. And then Heart Center Tarot, like my little cartoon about the fish filling up the other fish's bowl, not expecting any help. And that's the point of being human, I think, is we reach out, we try to help people even when we're not going to get anything particularly back. I read questions all the time for people, and I don't get money directly from that. I just get goodwill and good energy. Then, okay, Annette wants to know about any aspect of past lives. And there's a couple things. One is when I first started doing past lives, I kind of stumbled in how to do it. I actually have 3 ways of doing past lives. One is extremely long, and we actually focus down to figure out what year you were born, and we get a whole feeling about how you functioned in that world. Past lives can help you understand people you're connected to now. I've had a friend who's had past life regression, not the way I do it, but with a psychiatrist, and they hypnotized her. And in one of her past lives, I was there with her when she died in childbirth. And the therapist said, I think you know the person who's with you. What's her name in this life? And she said, Nancy. And the odd thing was that my friend and I ended up in the maternity ward in a high-risk pregnancy, and we kept each other going for the extra 6 weeks we needed to be able to get our babies in alive. I always thought that was kind of a fascinating past lives projection. The other thing you can learn in past lives is one time I was hypnotized by Weiss, the guy who found Many Lives, Many Masters, that guy. I went to a seminar he ran, and he hypnotized us into a past life. And I was a very teeny, I remember I felt teeny tiny, and I'm already all of a roaring 5'3", so me feeling teeny tiny. It was a short person. It was a small woman. It was in China. It was during some point of political unrest, which takes up a lot of Chinese history. Anyway, she'd helped people get to a position of power, and then in order for them to save their own skins, they'd sold her out. And I got the whole story in just the brief time I went into that energy, and it explained to me about some people I'd trusted in this lifetime in politics, who I'd saved their butts. And then when it came down to it, they had to choose between me and bigger donors, and they went to bigger donors, which in politics is a reasonable choice to make. In life, if you're a person living through it, it sucks. Okay. But the reason I was so hesitant, even though I had 3 very different ways to read past lives, of getting into it long term, and especially on the channel when I thought about starting to do past lives. Some people use past lives as an excuse. I read past lives for people at the table, and then they'll show up a year later and they'll go, oh, well, it's still that same claustrophobic feeling I have from the Middle Ages. Well, no, that's not what you're supposed to do with it. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to look at your past life and then figure out how you can use it, what you learn from it, and how to move on. If you get stuck in a past life, then that to me doesn't do people any good. So aspects I'd say about past lives is trying to learn what it means for you in today's world and how can you use that energy to move yourself forward. Okay, the next question is kind of interesting for me. I'm going to read this. Oh, this was a reading, by the way, before I get to this lovely lady's question. It's about where we all are, and we are already sitting on the precipice right now of a time to start letting go and moving on. We kind of, I think some people, Turkey Day was bad enough. I mean, they're not really up for the rest of the holidays, but there's a whole lot of our energy that's moving on. Mentally, we're in a great place. We're in a great place to begin to use all our intuition. We're going to be bombed with it. So that was a rolling I did today about what's going on with the community. But this person wants to know if the person that has been her father all her life is her biological father. And this is kind of a tough question for me because when I was pregnant with my first child, I found out there's no way my father could be my father because of blood type. So I went through whatever she's going through 47 years ago. I'm going to use, if it's here, you see how organized I was today. Okay. I'm going to use the Dowsing Garden. And this way is yes, and this way is no. And it's her father that she's thought her biological father. Is he truly her biological father? No. I don't know how you figured it out. I don't know if it was 23andMe. A lot of that's happening these days. This is what I can tell you, having been through this. I was pregnant with my first child, and I was always the odd child out. And the second I knew what had happened, that had happened, a whole lot of things snapped into place for how my life had fallen together. And within 3 months, I'd figured out who my real father was. And when I went to work for the airline, I actually flew back to Chicago, where I was raised, and met with this wonderful man who had spoiled me rotten, had come to every play I was ever in, totally supported me, had a big meal for me in honor of my wedding, the day before my wedding. And I thought, this is so odd. Even back then, that was kind of odd. Anyway, I went and met with him. We talked about it briefly. He said it was the only time he discussed it with me. He asked me if my mother knew and that I knew, and I said no. And I didn't ask him if my father knew. I didn't ask whatever they had decided to do about it. But it made a whole lot of stories I'd been told as a child make a lot of sense. And he's a really good guy. And, unless there's some other way, you can go find out for sure. I will tell you this, that when I ran Obama's campaign, one of my best volunteers was a genetic researcher. And I was talking to her one day and I said, this was kind of the case in my life. And she said, she said that she did counseling for parents that had special children or children that were born with severe differences. And the first thing she said they do is they separate the parents and they sit and interview them closely, especially the mothers, because um, she said that statistically, and it's this number keeps growing as there's more 23andMe out there and Ancestry, 13%, this was in 2008, 13% of the names of the fathers that are on the birth certificates are not the fathers. So the first thing I can tell you is you're not alone. When I found this out, I thought it was the only person this could possibly have ever happened to. Of course, I was 26 and stupid, but you have to decide what you do with it. And weirdly enough, the doctor who kind of explained all to me how all this was working, he grew up in the same area of Illinois I did, but he was older, and it ended up my father had saved his life in the emergency room. And he so he knew who my dad was. He knew, I mean, it wasn't like some strange doctor in Texas that when I was raised in Illinois. And he said, I wish you were the first person I ever had to say this to, and I wish you would be the last, but I'm not. And so he and I talked about it, and he said, it's up to you how you handle it. But he said, I know who your dad is. I know how he's raised you, and he's been there for you, and that's really your choice. And he said, I've seen people go in and blow up families. I've seen people go in, not blow up families and tell them. But he said, whether you tell them and you know the personal dynamics between you and your parents, I never discussed it with my father. I did discuss it with my mother in Hawaii. I got her drunk enough on Mai Tais on the balcony of a hotel. And she said it was the last time she talked to me about it. And it's the last time she talked to me about it. And she would not admit that the man who had said he was my father was my father. But I knew kind of the nature of their relationship when they first arrived from Canada here. So anyway, you'd have to decide what to do with that. You have to decide. I'd be 100% sure before I approached anybody about it. Hi, Esther, and see where that goes for you. So those were the questions that came in through the questions that you post on the night before. So I'm going to show this. Put all questions in caps, and I'll be looking for them. Okay. Yeah, I'll mark you, Esther, for a general reading. Okay, here's one. Okay, let's see if they think you should. I'm going to use cards for this. I don't know that angels, I'm going to say, are the energies around you, because I don't think angels recommend divorce unless it's to save your life. And they're going to recommend what you need to do to go through your divorce. Well, okay, let's go through this divorce. Seize your own power. I think it's going to come out. You definitely need to get divorced. It's at the end. There's nothing else you can do. There was so much lying and cheating. And I mean, it all starts to feel like an illusion after a while. You're going to be happier in the end if you go through with this. It's whatever affection was there, whatever reason you two got together, that's over now. I don't think it's going to be finished this winter. But what you really want is her. You want to have a full life where you can feel relaxed and enjoy yourself. And you want to go into the Empress. You're going to feel like her. And in the situation you're in now, you can't. I think for some reason you've taken a respite. It may be something if you're working with lawyers, something they've told you to do, or something he's trying to do to pull you away from doing this. Don't listen to it. This card means it's over, it's over, it's over. Tens are always endings, and this would be the ending of stress. And your out card is your just. You're right. It'll get settled in the courts and it'll be fair to you. What you need to do is have confidence in yourself. You're really a strong person. You just don't, you're going to have to learn a lot more about how you are your own magician to get through this. And I think that happens because it's a major commitment you've made in your life, and all of a sudden it's kind of done. You are concerned about the money. Don't be concerned about the money. It's what you worry about. That's what you're sending signals out about. So don't do that. And let him go. He's upside down on your board already. So it's time to let it go. Okay. Hi, Lise. Glad you're here for the first time. Esther, may I have a general reading? Why don't we do next 3 months for you, Esther? That's a good general reading. And sometimes it'll just sort of say a general energy around it. Sometimes it'll bring up a situation that you need to know about, good or bad, you know. Esther. Oh, well, you've got money coming your way. You have not thought it was coming, but it's definitely coming. You also have some good vibrations heading your way. Girl, why do you obsess? I never get what I want. You are going to get what you want. What I see is you're between a rock and a hard place. The Two of Swords to me has always kind of meant your mind and your heart are fighting about something. So your heart's saying go this way, your mind's saying go this way, and you're in a real concern about money. I think you've had a downturn in your living situation, and it's in the past, and that always hangs over you. If I do this and then that happens and then it all starts to snowball, but that's in the past. It's not going to hurt you anymore. And right now you've got some people bringing in good vibrations towards you. You're just not listening to them, but they really are bringing in the good vibrations. Now these cards are the past, and those you can't do a whole lot about. It's where you are. It's like right today. These cards are the ones in the future. And one of the reasons I always liked reading tarot was if you get a card out here you don't want, like this one, I think the way I see it, doesn't need to be turned, but you can, because it's out there and it hasn't happened yet, you can turn it around and change the energy. You know, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So where do we go from here? What do we see happening in the future? Well, you're concerned about never getting what you want, exactly the way you want it, but you're now patiently watching for something to come through. And you're doing it from the lens of it comes out of a place where you haven't wanted to look at having that desire or having that want or having that answer in your life. And you need to let that go, because the moon, it has light. It doesn't reveal like the sun, but it does reveal things we need to know. Why do you always short sell yourself? I think you don't have a degree, or you don't have some training or something you think you need to go forward. But you've got some people out here offering you the opportunity to move forward and to go ahead with them. So I think you're going to be offered a new job within your job, or offered some stuff. And you need to get over this idea of, but I don't have the training, or I don't have the this, or I don't have the that. I've never had it. I have a master's in accounting and computer science. And even with all that, every job I ever got required me to know and learn something else anew. You can learn it without going to a class. And your out card's great. Some people read the Ten of Cups as the opposite when it's upside down. I don't. I read the Ten of Cups as it's happiness. It's not as much as if it was right side up, but it's a lot of fulfillment and happiness, especially when it's right next to this card, where that's the Three of Wands, and it's people engaging in a new enterprise and all kind of getting along and going on a nice boat ride. So I'd say your next 3 months, Esther, look pretty good. Now I got to gather these guys up so I can go see. I forget when I don't read cards for a while how long it takes to gather all the cards up. Okay. And okay. Yeah, since you're new, we'll give you a reading. Okay, and I'm going to go down and see if there's anybody else. Okay. Gypsy. And I'm going to read that response to one thing we've been talking about. And then okay, that's kind of interesting. Okay. Oh, good. Somebody did the stones of prosperity. And okay. And I think I'm going to cut the questions off now, guys, because going down what I've got right at the moment, I'm going to cut them off. And okay. Okay, I'm cutting them off at with Nancy Cass Tarot. It's at 120. So if you've placed anything after that, there's so many questions. And if I have time when I get to her, then I'll go back. I'll go back and read you guys. Okay. Okay, this is where I am. Because the other thing, I'm not putting you on whole lease, but I kind of am. I'm going to have a giveaway based on this broadcast. You have to go to my Gmail, which should be in the I don't know if it is in the description. Anyway, if you go to my channel and go to about it, tells you how to reach me. I'm giving away a crystal and a key. I'm going to talk later in the show about how to use these keys. I'll put them out here, I guess. There's the key. And this is a fluorite crystal, and it's cut funny. It makes it's called an octahedron. It's an 8-sided figure. It's my favorite crystal. This one's a lovely green one. These are getting harder and harder to get. I'm going to tell you right now, because they come out of China, a lot of them, and nothing's coming out of China right now because the mines are closed. But let's see. I'm going to throw you in the garden, Lise. And if you haven't seen this before, I will explain it to you. The other thing I want to remind people, if you want to give someone a gift, I have several things that are for sale. I have gardens. This way of reading I have for sale. And I do for people who pay I think it's $3 or $4 a month. Twice a month, we have 2 to 3 hour meetings where we all read this together. It's a lot of fun. Get a lot of free readings, if nothing else. And you learn about this is a totally intuitive way of interpreting the world. When you get it all in a little box like this. I mean, it's a for real thing. I also sell chakra eggs. This happens to be the heart chakra egg. I also sell throat chakra eggs. And those are meditative tools that you can use when you, to open up your heart, to open up your throat. I'm going to be doing a longer show on things people have found by using them, because now enough people have used the eggs to have a real feedback. I also make crystal grids. I do not have one at the moment to show you because they've all been sent away, but they are crystal. They're grids. They're grids made of crystals. It comes with a reading. We pull a card that's a mandala card, tells you how your energy needs to move. And I've been making those for over 2 years, longer than 2 years, 3, 4 years. And they're incredibly powerful. And all those are available on my website, which is at www.crystaldirections.com. gmail.com. That's the end of the commercial. If you want to get a key and a crystal, you have to send me an email and you have to be a subscriber. I think that's only seems fair to my subscribers. So, Lise, if you've never seen this before, what this is body, mind, spirit, value, and clarity. And you read these stones based on the place they're in. And so your mind is in an interesting place. Your mind is in the sacral chakra, which means you're doing some creative things. Your mind is right now aligning with doing something new and creative and slightly different, doing it in a different way. And then your body is between, it's on go for it and true. And that's really great because when the body falls in true, it means yes, right now is a dynamic time for you to be making changes. And go for it, it means movement to whatever it is you're thinking about doing is going to be very easy if you choose to listen to it now. And I know this has to do with your intuition because your spirit is right between future and present. And in spirit and future means be patient. You're transmuting. This is true. You're transmuting right now. And this one with it in present, it says your spirit's going through a lot of changes. And so you're just becoming more and more and more aware of your intuition. And it's moving you into a new creative sphere. This is really fun. Your clarity is between the earth and air. And when it's split between the two, it doesn't necessarily, it just means both of those influences are here for you. And when your clarity is in earth, it's you have many paths ahead of you, but the correct one will appear in the future. You might be saying, God, I have 3 or 4 choices. The right choice will become extremely clear to you because your clarity is in air and all your thoughts will become very clear and secure. The last stone you have is the grounding stone in a pyrite, and you have it in water. And what it says, what that stone means in that place is that you are connecting to long-term changes. So you're right at a turning point in your life. And you're going to have an option between doing the same old, or striking out in a new direction, doing something creative. The answer is yes. When you feel that yes in your body, it's time for you to move forward. That's a garden reading. That's not an impossible thing to do. It's really actually kind of fun. I woke up one day and I was told by my guides to create this. So I did. That's where that comes from. Let's see what we got. Okay, Gypsy's going to get a garden reading too. Huh? Okay. You've got, when things show up in chakras in the outer ring and the chakras, this is the chakra: root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown. And then we put the tree of life in the end up at the top because it balanced out the grid. And I was told it needed to be here. So you've got in your throat chakra, you've got your values. So we read that one first. And this says, this is boosting your own self-esteem and your own self-expression. It means that's what you're working on right now. And the tip of you is in path forward. And in path forward, that means there's much more abundance about to be created. And it's coming out of finally speaking up and saying your piece. And that's a word from your spirit guide. Your spirit is between path forward and false. And in path forward, it means balance your energy to move ahead. And you're in a situation right now where you're not aligned with it the way you should be. And as soon as that shifts and you end up over here, you'll be fine. That's a little bit of the hesitation you're feeling. And your mind is also in path forward a little bit. And it says, mind is open, watch for signs that are going to tell you which way to move, because the earth, as it shows up here, I use the shamanic definition of earth where things rise up out of the earth, they grow. In other words, they're like crops that they grow out of the earth. And when your mind is in the earth, it says final situations are coming. So you're going to come to a conclusion about whatever this is that you know is holding you back. Your body's in air, and that's kind of fun. And it is actually completely in air. It may not look like it to you, but none of the physical stone crosses any of the borders. And when your body, It says, ground your thoughts, get ready for your thinking. And some of your problems are coming from the fact. Fire is that use ideas you carry forward from the past and ones that were successful. And it's some situation that you had to kind of think your way out of because you touch into restate. And you're going to be able to figure out like, oh, I remember I was in something like this and this situation worked out when I did this better. So you're really set up to make this dynamic change. And there's nothing on here that says the change isn't going to happen. It just means you have to finally let go. And that's that's your will. You have to let go of that situation that you're somewhat tied to right now. For better or worse, those vows were written for people who died in their 50s. That's true. That's one way to review looking at divorce. Okay. Show this one. Rose blue. My brother appeared in my dream last Wednesday, a week after he passed. I didn't know they could come back that soon. I've had friends who had their a loved one visit them the same day as they died. That's how they knew they died. Yeah, they can come through. I don't know what he was saying to you. I think my overall feeling is he was there to give you a positive message of reassurance. I don't know how close you were to your brother or how badly it hit you, but I think he wanted to let you know that he was okay. Except he's not in our plane anymore. He's in the other dimension. Okay. Okay. I'm going to put this on the pendulum because it's the one thing about the garden is I was told immediately that you could not do yes, no's on it. And you also can't read politics on it, which is yes. I don't want to read politics. And I actually worked with a reader who does a lot of politics on her show. She had one and we tried to read politics and we were trying to read about the orange one. And every time we tried to read it, this stone, the one I said means mind, the mental state, it bounced off the board. And you've seen how they roll on my board. They don't bounce. So, okay, let's travels. How does it look for travels to meet someone in the next few months? I'm going to give you 6, kid. It's going to be slow. It'll be closer to the end of the 6. And I'll tell you how I read that. It kicked this way and then it went straight. So it's going to be, you're 3 or 4 months away from it. I mean, I'd still be going out meeting as many people as possible. And I'd also be being the kind of person I would want people to meet. That's the trick to meeting somebody. Health garden, please. MRI. Ooh, on Saturday and neurosurgery. Oh, okay. We're going to look at how your surgery is going to go. Oh, you took some time finding the doctor I think you finally picked because you've got third eye intuition. Your mind is there. You've got to use your intuition. You have a lot of insights. I think you were clever when you went looking for the right physicians, your values and what's happening with them. They're in the future and the present. And it's going to purify some things for you right now. It's going to make things much more clearly focused. I think seeing where your spirit has ended up, that's a little weird. It's in restate, going in the right direction. It's in the past. It's leading to a new transformation for you of your consciousness. I think when you wake up from this, your intuition is going to be a lot higher. And I've never done anybody that's going to neurologic surgery. So, I mean, neurosurgery, but feel that way. And then your spirit being a fire. If you've had bad experiences in hospitals before, don't even think about them. When they show up in your brain, say, thank you for sharing and push them out of the way. Because this all looks set up to be very good. Your body, which is kind of important in this whole transaction because it's got to be there too, it's between the earth and air. And the changes you want are going to come from this surgery. And you just need to ground your thoughts and do whatever you need to do as far as whatever kind of recovery or prep they tell you to. Now, your clarity isn't false. And the reason it's there is, I think, fear. Your vision is clouded at this time. I don't know. Does your surgery have something to do with vision? But it's not going to be, because out here it all says things are going to get clear and they're going to move forward. So I think it looks good. And we'll light a candle and pray for you, okay, kiddo? Okay. Carol Gallagher. Okay, let's just read Carol. What are the energies surrounding Carol right now, and what kind of advice are we pushing her towards? Hey. Oh, girl, you've got so much stuff emerging in your life right now. You've got your body, you've got a little bit of your spirit, you've got a lot of your energy, and you got clarity all in earth. That's kind of okay. Physical changes are coming, and that's the most prominent thing because your whole body is in earth. The next one is your clarity. More is going to be being brought forward, and in part you've had you need to reconsider some of your values to be able to move forward. Your spirit is between, it actually lands so that it's really in earth and past, and your spirit and earth says transforming but not yet finished, which would make sense, but it is your path forward. Balance your energy to move ahead. So that's part of whatever this is that's going on here now. Your clarity is a teeny tiny bit in earth, and you have many paths ahead. You're going to find the correct one in the future. You're tied to fire and use ideas from your past lives to figure out the solutions. So that's good for you. But restate, and people always say to me when I start teach them the grid, what the hell does restate mean? When I created the grid, I figured out all the spaces and everything, and then I looked at it and I said, what the hell does any of this mean? And that started the longest 2 months of my life. I had visions every night of walking into parts of this garden and seeing our reality in terms of earth, wind, air, and fire, basic elements, and how they affected us. So this particular part of the garden was sort of a weed patch. And when you get a stone in restate, and this is your clarity, it says you're almost not in restate, but you are enough in that I have to talk about it. You're going in the right direction, but you need a lot of clarification. And what restate, when I walked into it as a space, I saw a lot of really pretty plants, but also jumbled together. Have you ever seen an old house where the garden was left to go and the roses are all growing around each other and nothing's where it should be? Well, what restate says is this is where our thoughts are. They're all interconnected and interwoven and sort of a mess. And we, in essence, need to go weed it out. And in other words, think about the question again and find the elements that we need to move forward. So that's where you are, but you're really close because you wouldn't have your mind in water, which means to let go of limitations, if you weren't letting go of limitations, and you're barely in restate. So I'd say the energy around you right now is really some pretty dynamic change. Is Prince Charming's mom going to have a successful winter? Let's see how the winter ends up for you, girl. I'm going to read you as that one is a yes, no. I'm not going to read it in the garden. And in case you're wondering, you can go to my website and there's like a little folder called resources. It has this dowsing garden if you want to get it, because you can do percentages. You can do more than yes, no on it. And it also has what you always do. And I always do this before I do readings, but it says, do I have permission to douse or read? Am I aligned with my higher self? And am I fully protected? And I swing the pendulum. And when I went back out and read in public again at Halloween, I was in the vintage store I used to work in, and I was checking out the grid. I was checking out the dowsing garden because I was going to read with it. And when it got to, am I fully protected? And I was holding the string like I'm holding it now, and it flew across the store. I took that as a sign that perhaps I needed to put a little more sage and stuff on my table. Um, Vintage stores are infamous places for having haunted items and spirits that don't want to leave their stuff, but they're kind of fun to be around. But let's see. How's Prince Charming's mom? Is it going to be successful this winter? I'd say about 90% of the success you expect, because it didn't go truly to yes, but it's way far from no. So I think it's going to be okay. Let's see. Yay. Where are you? Hi, I've never seen you live. So happy to see you. I would love to know if there are any messages for me. I'm kind of lost. Okay. And Candy, I'll read it even though you didn't put it in caps because you said you're kind of lost. And you are because you didn't put it in caps, right? Oh dear. You've got a whole lot of action coming out of air. Air is thoughts. Air is like swords. That would show that there's a lot of stress and pressure to make you move forward. And I'm going to read those 3 stones together because you've got a root. The chakra up here is your root chakra. Actually, I'll start with that because I usually do. And you need to tie to your cosmic wisdom to move forward right now. And it's needed. That's what you need for your base. I think you've let yourself drift. Your values are coming out of Earth, which is much more is being brought forward. So then you got this little trifecta. You got your brain, you got your spirit, and you got your body. Body, mind, spirit, kid, all in one space. And what it says is the way you think about it's all important. When you think it, that's pulling it into your reality. You're really manifesting like crazy, even if you don't see it that way. And spirit's transforming your thinking and making things better for you, but your body in here says you need to ground your thoughts. So I think what's happening to you, and you said you're feeling kind of lost, you need to tie it up to your cosmic self. You need to talk to your higher self every day. You need to, it's best to do it when you wake up in the morning before you get going and doing. But if you can't get that kind of calm in the morning, then do it at night just before you go to sleep. But things are lined up for you to move forward. When things are in air, things flow off the board with water and air. That means they're moving forward. They're not stuck. Things get real stuck in fire because that could be past life or your ancestry or just crappy stuff that happened in this life. And Earth is, like I told you, that's where everything grows from. So, and Terry Renner, what you up to, girl? We're going to find out. Oh, okay. Okay. Garden, give Terry some guidance on where to focus to get past this tsunami of old grief. Holidays are great for creating tsunamis of old grief, let me tell you. Okay. What you need to do. Okay, you need to get your body out of the past. That would help. And it says to look to other ways you've pulled yourself out of this before, because right now your body is, you're really focusing in and you're bringing in a lot of the old past energies which may or may not be good, but that's what all of a sudden's hit you. And your clarity is in fire, which says use ideas from the past. You've been through this before and you know how you got yourself out of it. You can make it a much quicker trip this time. Your values are between earth and fire, which is between growing, moving forward in a much more meaningful way. To clarification comes from dealing with your past. You've had this flashback to just help your mind grow, because your mind's here in earth. This is really going to help you go through this the final time. This is the final time to go through this. And what's moving you out in air is your spirit. And if you can talk to your spirit, Terry, and I know you, I've seen you kicking around the rooms for a while. I know you know how to do this. Move forward. And this is all setting up. I know it's awful the day it hits, but it's really going to help you grow. So what you need to do is look at it, think, how did I get out of this one? This hit me before. And as long as it wasn't just running away, denying it, or trying to drug it out of your existence, you should be able to come up with a path. Because I think the reason you have this right now is you're strong enough to have it and you have the skills to get past it. Spirit Watcher Suzanne wants a general reading. Okay. What's the lesson for Spirit Watcher Suzanne at this time? That's cool. Clarity never falls like that. It's kind of interesting. It kind of is it's on the smallest side it has so that it can hit 3 spots. A lot of people are emerging, having a lot of stuff grow and come up. This says right now that some of what you're doing, Suzanne, is you're tying yourself to false energies from the past. And your clarity is saying, my clarity comes from letting go of what's false, not looking at it through the cloud. And you've got the heart. There's a lady who reads my gardens all the time. She's in my class. Her name is Vivian C. She's from Puerto Rico. She deals with the garden a lot. She calls me up. She and I have long meetings about it because she had a vision one time that when a stone falls in the heart, that's the answer. That's the center part of your answer. And probably true considering what's here. Your clarity comes through wisdom, comes from your emotions. Wisdom doesn't come from pithy little sayings. Wisdom really comes from your emotions and how you let your emotions grow. And if you tie those to false images of the past, it doesn't help. But what you've got in your favor is power is coming to you because your spirit is transforming and transmuting. And there's more than one way for you to move your energy forward, and you're going to find it. Your mind is in fire. I think I already did him. Yeah, don't become too tied to false energies of the past because you're way out of this. Remember, water's what's floating things away. So it helps if you ground yourself and if you just let go of these things from the past again. I think the two of you that was right before you have somewhat the same thing. Your spirit, though, is in earth. Spirit's transforming right now. It's not yet finished. And more is going to be brought forward. So your general reading right now is that you just need to focus on going with things that are positive in the flow. And if it seems like it's a little slow, it's because you're building all this energy up to move forward. But you're definitely going to be moving forward because your body's in water. Let's see. Oh, okay. This actually happens to be a person who's in the chat that I've physically met. Not many of you that fit that thing. Okay, let's see. We're going to focus on the house sale, okay? Okay. It's going to take this is creativity, and you're going to have to think creatively because I don't know that where he's moving, where you're moving is a place it would have been your first choice. So you're going to have to deal with that. But I think it's much better for you because you've got your clarity and your path forward. And look carefully for omens. You're going to, when you walk up to houses or when you're looking for this, things are going to all of a sudden just click together. That's the place to go. If it feels like it's a struggle to get in it, that's not the place you want to go to. And you're going to have to completely reconsider your values because your values are in your heart chakra. And you need to understand that all that's really good for you is not necessarily in the physical realm. And so there may be like a kind of house you like or kind of look or way. You're going to have to bend a little bit on that. But your spirit's growing like crazy through this because your spirit's coming out of earth and spirit's transforming and not yet finished. I think you also can tell time on the garden. This is winter, spring, summer, fall. I think you're going to find this house before the winter. I think you're going to find it really quickly because, and you have to haul it, girl, because that's 21st of December. But you may actually have to take a temporary residence and move in the summer. Or maybe the summer's when you get there and you feel most comfortable there. That's when you really feel like I've settled in. But it looks good. I mean, there's nothing there. It just says you have to reconsider what you thought was the kind of house you always wanted. Okay. So I'm now into the ones I didn't think I'd reach. On a job. Okay. It'd help if I knew what the job was, because let's see, when will Lyra get this new job? Oh, you're going to get it this fall. You've been interviewing for it, and you've met the people. You actually met them last summer and really wanted to remember that. God, if the spirit stones falls on earth one more time, I'm going to lose it completely, because that means everybody's transforming. But that's actually true. According to the astrology, that's true. I think you've met these people and I think they've already made the decision. I think you're going to get the job. If that was what the question was. Thank you, Vernie. Appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to talk about the key and the stone and about how to find any old key in your house and make it your path forward. Okay. Patricia. Oh. And there it fell again. Another person. There's this thing we have when we do a lot of readings. You'll get a theme of the day. Apparently our theme today is spirits transforming, but not yet finished, because I guess 6 of you have gotten that. General reading for you is that you have a lot of paths ahead of you, but you tend to fall back on the old ones rather than moving forward. And now you're kind of getting kicked in the butt, and it's saying, move forward. Your vision's a little bit clouded right now, but you need to be moving forward. And your mind is in the process of really working stuff out. This is when mind's here, it's think, and rethink. So if that's kind of where you're feeling right now, you're not out of line with yourself at all. Your body is embodying things from your past. You're trying to deal with them. I got a feeling this holiday I'm going to see a lot of that stone, that place. And your values are also in fire. Okay, that means things are going to become clear to you by dealing with your past. So what I see out of this is you tend to fall back into old patterns rather than trying new ones. You need to look at the old patterns and then go and try and find new ones for yourself. But you're in the process of doing that. You're already thinking it through. You're already, even if you're not consciously waking up every day saying, how am I going to deal with this? I'm going to look down here further, see if there's anything that's just. Okay. Thank you. You stopped my people from writing me anymore. I'm apparently, Lisa, I hit the right tones, so I'm glad. That always helps me. When you work with people at a table and they're there, you get a feeling for where they are. It's okay, Kate Engla. You can talk to your friends in Finland. And Terry said it made sense. Her reading made sense too. So what we're going to talk about now is rules of the game on how to get the key. And what I'm going to tell you about keys. Keys, you can get any old house key. You can get any old trunk key. You can get any old key. I have a little jar full of them. And these were some I just bought off Etsy because I had just moved and threw away all my keys when I started learning about keys. What you do with keys is you hold them and you envision the door, the gate, the boundary that this key unlocks. And you think about it, and you think about, what do you have on this side of that boundary, and what are you expecting to get? What is your intention? What are you trying to build to? And you program that key. And it can take a few minutes. It can take as long as you want. I mean, it's your life, your time. The key I'm going to give away to someone is this key, to the person who signs up, because they're going to get the key and that little tiny, it's not a tiny, I'm much tinier octahedrons, but I love it because it's green. I love it because it's got, you can clearly see the planing of the crystal growth that's in a fluorite with this. So that's the crystal I'm going to give away. In order to get those two things, you have to, one, be subscribed to my channel, and two, send an email to me saying gift, because this is a gift I'm doing at Christmas. And let me see if I will write up a banner. I didn't think about doing this before, but this is create a banner. When I invented my email, I didn't think about having to type this 1,000 times. @gmail. Oh, and I did that wrong. When you create a YouTube channel, really think about the consistency of what you got. This is my email. And if you want to participate, you have to be, I have a way to check, see who's a subscriber. You have to be a subscriber. And I'm giving you till Saturday to get a hold of me, because I know some other people watch after work or in the evening, or they're the insomniacs that write me things at 3 a.m. about how true that was I talked about, or they just have weird work schedules. But anyway, also, this is another thing that's really improved and that's really important, is next show is on Thursday, but it's not at my usual time. It's at 10 a.m. Central Time. And what Tim Walter talks about is earth energies, ley lines, how to check for spirits in your house, how to clear your house if you have a negative spirit. He runs a whole program that trains people to be house clearers. And that's apparently a job in England, because trust me, the house he lives in is 500 years old. And he'd lived in it 4 years before it finally occurred to him that there were 2 rooms in the house that just felt oogie. And he actually has a whole tape of how he mapped out his house and how he looked at all the rooms. But, and he found out some of that earth energy had been there since the house was built, which was 500 years ago. And he also talks about the difference between earth energies, ley lines. And I found him because I was interested in his working with a guy named Hamish Miller, who does ley lines. But Tim's got a lot of videos on YouTube if you want to go look at some of those, or just come see how you feel when you talk to him. And he and I have been trying to get this together for 6 weeks. And we finally are doing it the 1st of December. Yay! And I'm going to make my garden go away. Okay. Yesterday I did a show. It's on my channel, and it's monthly musings. And I talked about it a little bit earlier, but what we sensed, each of us using our own set of skills sensed, was basically the same thing. And it is that we're about to head into a period of extremely rapid change, but we have till the solstice to maybe get a little more settled. This is what's behind all you people who know something's happening around me. How am I going to focus on it? There's a whole lot of that going on. And because if you watch astrologers, you've understood there's going to be a lot more shaking in the heavens through March. And what the way we can survive all these things without losing it completely is to just be even and calm about it, and pick your battles and pick what you want to fight for and focus on things. Don't focus on every shiny thing that gets thrown off your TV set or even out of YouTube. Don't get thrown off by every shiny little thing that comes up on YouTube. Focus on um, figuring out where you really want to go and creating a key that's going to unlock that part for your life. And I love fluorite crystals. They are my favorite crystals. And they are the ones that I feel, if you think about it, if you see it, it's got 2 points at the top, and it's like it's 8-sided. And what I've always thought was true about the power of a fluorite, it's as above, so below, to the left, to the right, to the front, to the back. When you pick those points out for yourself, whether you do those in meditations, whether you do them for protection, however you work that out, you are creating an octahedron around yourself. And I think it's a very important part of sacred geometry. It's a very important part of the Platonic shapes, which is another thing I talk about. And I think those are all skill levels we need to become familiar with. So as a matter of self-protection, because we just think the world's been moving rapidly for the last few years. We're just starting. And until in the 2030s, which I have been told I will be alive to see. I've also been told I'm going to live to be 100, which is probably also true. I keep trying to straighten my glasses, and I realized just now that my camera's tilted and my whole room looks like, okay, sorry about that. I digress. Anyway, we're at 1 hour. That's where I promised I'd be. I'm at the bottom of, let me see. I'm not at the bottom of the comments. I'm at I've got a bit way to go. Let me see. Yeah, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Push the like buttons. If you can, just occasionally, if you have a friend you think would like to see what I do, send it on to them, because every time you share that, there's a whole algorithm that YouTube uses to decide how to make things grow. And quite honestly, I have been at the same number for the last month. Oh, thank you, Spirit Watcher Suzanne. I knew I needed to come back and look at my chat for some reason. And Gigi, who is a gardener, we're working on it. Yeah, I think Nancy, this is her comment. When I met Nancy, she was having back problems and I was having heart problems, and we tried to go on a nature walk. It did not work out well. But she's now back in healing, and so am I. And trust me, I wouldn't have thought I could feel this well this time of year. But I drink hibiscus tea to control my blood pressure, and it works better than the damn pills they used to give me. Oh yeah, honey, Vernie, this one's interesting because I work with elementals. They're everywhere. And Tim Walter also talks about the elementals and how he sees them. Angela, you can take any key you want, any key you've got in your house. No, you don't lose the key. You just hold the key somewhere where you can look at it and talk to it and see how it's working. But basically, you just need to program it for what you want to see it do. And the first time I did it, I used an old house. Thank you, Lyra. Thank you. She just joined. Yay! But I'm going to have some other fun stuff when I reach 4,000. I'm going to give away one of my eggs in the celebration of my 4,000th subscriber. I'm sorry, subscriber. I don't have 4,000 members. And if you want to be a member, I have a member thing where you can join and you can watch. If you don't have a garden, you can watch us work with the garden. If you have the garden, you can learn the garden. And hopefully I'll be better at getting this out than I was last weekend. Half the people got the invitation, half didn't. They all went out on the same thing. It was a YouTube problem. And trust me, YouTube and problem go well together. Anyway, thank you all for being here. And now I'm going to go rest. I have 2 readings to do tomorrow, and I have to finish putting my Tim Walter show Walter show together. Yeah, help me get to 4,000 subscribers. Yes. And also between now and the solstice, Danny and I will be meeting up to do a solstice show, and we're going to try and talk about how to cope with the energy shift that we're going into. So I look forward to seeing you all there. I need to end this broadcast. I just sit here forever and talk. But anyway, goodbye, dears. Have a good day.